Eid celebration is a great event among the Muslim sisters and brothers, which marks the end of the month-long fasting of Ramadan. And my guest today is Leyla Nassir, joining me via Zoom, and she will help us understand more about the Eid celebration and the Islamic teachings in connection with it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our special program in connection with Eid and with the program on Shukra. Do stay with us. Leyla, thank you so much for joining me, and Eid Mubarak.
Thank you very much for having me here. Eid Mubarak to all of us.
Thank you indeed. After a month of fasting, Leyla, the Muslim community, Muslim brothers and sisters joyfully celebrate Eid. We'll definitely talk about this celebration later on. But first, I want you to explain to me what Eid al-Fitr is for someone who doesn't know what it really is.
Okay, thank you. It's a very nice question. You see, in our religion, in Islamic religion, there is a month called Ramadan, which is the 9th month of our calendar, a unique calendar, lunar calendar. It usually starts and ends with the appearance of the crescent moon. So this month is known to be a month of fasting. So once we fast 1 month, then comes Eid al-Fitr, a feast of fasting. That marks the end of Ramadan month. One of the two holidays, the major holidays of Islam, that comes at the end of the Ramadan fasting month.
Okay, so it marks the end of the month-long fasting of Ramadan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, Eid takes place at the end of Ramadan, of course, as we said, a whole month long fasting and prayers. So what are some of the other activities that you do apart from, fasting and prayers, of course?
Okay. You see, there are a lot of activities usually going on in Ramadan. Most of it has got to do with the fasting. But it's not actually what we think. It's not only the obligation of fasting. It is considered the obligation of refraining from any bad deeds and bad thoughts even. So the other activities is being emotionally and physically available in close contact with the Almighty. What does that mean is you are going to multiply your prayers. There is a new kind of prayer that we do during only the month of Ramadan, which is called the Tarawih. After we break our fast at the time of the evening, we usually, preferably, we go to mosque and do it in congregational prayer, which is called Tarawih. Most of the mosques try to complete reciting the Holy Quran during the whole month in the Tarawih prayers. The other activity is in the middle of the night, actually at almost 3/4 of the night. There is called a meal called suhoor. We eat suhoor. Then at the last 10 days of the Ramadan, there is also a prayer. In fact, the whole month and during our lives, it's preferable to do it. There is a prayer called tahajjud, or prayer of the night. That we do at the latter end of the night. Some do it in the mosques and some do it in the house, but it is considered to be the time where we as the servants of the God come very closer to the God during that time. So people do it earnestly, especially at the last 10 days of the Ramadan, because there is what is known as Laylatul Qadr, the night of the destination, or there is a night, a unique night that all the Muslims in the world are looking for, because the reward that whatever you do in that night, it can be charity, it can be prayer, it can be good deeds or good words. It will be multiplied. When you do it one time, it will be multiplied to 83 years of activity or reward.
Oh, okay.
So that is what we do. And in addition to that, most of the people usually change their lifestyle during the Ramadan. They become calm, concentrated, and you see, what surprises me the most is God's wisdom during this Ramadan. Because we are using lunar calendar, all the Muslims in their lifetime will be obligated to fast Ramadan in the different seasons of the year. Because every year it comes closer, 10 to 12 days, it comes closer than the year you have fasted last year, the time you have fasted in last year. So every one of us will experience fasting it in the long days of the summer or in the short days of winter or anything in between. That means you experience the hardship in the easiest part of fasting. At the same time, you experience hunger. You experience lots of emotions like restraining yourself, refraining yourself from all of these bad activities. So you become humble and down to earth. And that makes you more kind and closer to the humanity. So you start giving, and it is really marked with the experience of forgiveness. Everyone calls each other to ask for forgiveness if there is anything that they have done, like that, if they have done any wrong to them. The other thing is most of the people start reciting Quran.
Okay.
It is believed that the Holy Quran is concluded during the month of Ramadan to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. So most of us will turn to read to it more than we do in the normal months of the year, in the other months of the year. And we become again one more time familiar with the rules and guidances of the Holy Book and what is wrong and what is right. So you reflect, you do the self-reflection and come back again to your good self. So these are the few other activities that we do in the Ramadan. There are lots of them, but we can mention that these are the major ones, I think.
Wow, thank you so much for that detailed description. Let's also talk about this. Zakat al-Fitr is, I think, one of the 5 pillars of the Islamic teachings, right? So what is expected from the believers in this regard?
Okay, you see, Ramadan, in fact, fasting the Ramadan month is one of the 5 pillars of the Islamic teachings.
Oh, okay.
When it comes to Zakat al-Fitr, let's start from this. First of all, it is mentioned by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a prerequisite to the acceptance of our fasting by the Almighty God. Because it has 2 purposes. Zakat al-Fitr has 2 purposes. The first thing is that it allows us, or it helps us purify or compensate for whatever wrongdoings or deeds or words we had during the month, so that our fast will be accepted or acceptable by the Almighty. Because just merely refraining from food and drink, that doesn't matter. That God's purpose of this Ramadan fasting is not to punish us, or it's not a form of atonement. It's a form of teaching us or helping us practice to be good. So whatever violations we did during the month, by giving Zakat al-Fitr, then we compensate it. Okay? The second is it has social values. By giving the Zakat al-Fitr to the needy, we help others, the needy, or to celebrate, to just focus and concentrate on the joy of celebrating the Eid, instead of looking for others for charity or asking for others charity on that day. So no one has to beg or has to ask for charity on the day of Eid. That is the purpose of Eid. So just before it, and it has to be given before the prayer on the day of Eid, okay? On the day of Eid al-Fitr. Whatever amount you give after that prayer become just ordinary sadaqah or ordinary charity. So it has to be 1 or 2 days before, it can be 1 or 2 days before Eid, but it has to be before the prayer. And it is, because we all want our fasting to be accepted by God, it is obligatory on all of us. The other wisdom I really appreciate in this regard is it's not only the rich that has to give zakat al-fitr. Even the poor who has enough meal for a day and a night has to give zakat al-fitr. That gives them a sense of giving and a sense of equality, because now the sense of being able to give makes you like feel it plays well on their self-esteem. And with the sense of that equality, they celebrate the Eid al-Fitr. It doesn't really harm them to give that a small amount. And on the other hand, the poor that is giving the zakat al-Fitr, on the other hand, is receiving lots of zakat al-Fitrs from the others. You see, it doesn't really affect them that much. Mm-hmm. So once the zakat amount is calculated, it can be given in the amount of money that is declared by the mosque, or by the type of food or grain or whatever it is. That is usually the staple, the known staple for that particular area or region. One thing maybe that is really worth mentioning with regards to the zakat al-fitr is that it's not only for the adults that it is supposed to be given out. Even for a child who is in the womb of his mother is considered as one individual, and the adult or the family head makes the calculation, including that unborn child, to give the zakat al-fitr. So the family head is supposed to give the zakat al-fitr for all his family members, per head for all his family members, for his children, for any dependents that's living under him, like they can be servants or any other relatives, as long as they are dependent on him, even though they are not living with him or with her. So that's how it is calculated and given out.
So it's the responsibility of everybody, and no one is excluded, right?
No one is excluded, except for those who are not even, who cannot even afford a day's meal, you see? And there's no much of that, I think.
Let's also talk about Salat Al-Jama, which is a congregational prayer, as opposed to individual or personal prayer. So what's the difference between Salat Al-Jama and individual prayer? And what's the importance of the Salat Al-Jama?
Oh, this is a really, really very interesting question, Shafi. I would like to look at it in this way. I think there has multiple benefits for it. The first one is spiritual effect. By just praying in Jama'ah, in congregation, rather than individually, you multiply your reward from God by 27 times.
27 times, okay.
27 times. Just knowing that will make you want to do it in congregation. What is the logic behind, or why are we like rewarded like this? Sometimes you give your children a bonus. If you behave this way, or if you tell the truth all the time, right, I will do this for you, okay? This is a kind of reward that is really pushing us towards congregational prayers due to different reasons, because God wants us to do it for different reasons. The first one is for its social effect. What I mean by that is these congregational prayers, when you come closer, you try to understand others' problems, what is there in the society, and it opens the door for social cooperation and for like solidarity.
Yeah,
that is one thing. The second is, you see, it fosters the feeling of equality. The king stands next to the servant. The ruler stands next to the ruled, the one being ruled. And the poor next to the rich, and the young next to the old. And all stands in a row, straight row, shoulder to shoulder. There's no segregation. Everyone is equal in the eyes of Allah, except for the level of or fear or like obedience to God. That is, when they come together and stand in a row, they understand that everybody is equal. They start to feel humility And the sense of equality that brings about love and understanding and cooperation that is really much needed now in our community.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is the moral and educational effect it has on us. The moral effect, it gives you a sense of time management, sense of self-leadership. Personally, honestly speaking, I have really experienced a sense of controlling your selfishness. Like you become selfless. You help others join whenever there is no place. And when there is raining outside and you help each other come closer. And I can't tell you what we have missed during this pandemic by missing the congregational prayers in the mosque. It really makes you like feel alone. And that kind of feeling is not really very nice. Because I think that's why we are called the social animals. Okay? So the educational effect, I think, is when the imam, the one who is leading the prayer, the congregational prayer, is usually has to be someone who is acceptable by the followers. Acceptability comes from his knowledge, from his well-behaved manner, from age, for all those sorts of things. So once you have those kinds of leaders, you take them as a role model, and whatever they teach you, you take it as you take it for granted and implement it. So the educational effect is not really the educational effect is really very large from my understanding. You see, the sense of order and alignment and the discipline, self-control, and everything comes with the congregational prayer. And it makes you morally capable to fit anywhere, regardless of your diversification or whatever.
It creates this sense of equality and also ambulance, helping each other. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You know what? One of the good things is that the coronavirus is now almost not affecting the congregational prayer. So that's good news, right?
Yes, thank God.
Yeah. Let's also talk about the current situations unfolding in different parts of the country. And recently we witnessed some sad incidents in Gondar. So, the Muslim communities are celebrating Eid, with such sad incidents happening in Gondar city. So what is your take on the recent situation that unfolded in Gondar, and what should be done, in order to preserve Ethiopia's enduring peace and unity among the Muslims and the Christians?
Yes, honestly speaking, I honestly I don't know where to start. I can't even start to imagine what kind of rationally, like what kind of religious or whatever background, what kind of thinking can lead to the days of any brother or any mankind.
Yeah.
Especially like when I'm not aware of the total situation or what has really happened in the area, but from what we hear from different sources here and there, I really felt sad to the core of my bone. You are fasting and you have lost someone dear to you, and you are about to bury that someone dear to you, and somebody opens kind of, I don't know what to say. There is nothing to justify that. Of course, there is one thing one thing is for sure. Allah has given us the permission to protect ourselves and our properties from aggressors and from wrongdoers. But what my advice is, at the end of the day, for all the human beings, forgiveness is the most powerful tool, as I think. Of course, you might have lost your dear ones. The impact is long lasting, maybe to the days a child dies. He cannot forget how his father died on that day. But if you allow me, let me mention one or two from the Quran. You see, hold to forgiveness, command what is right, and turn away from the ignorant. Always on earth, from the day this earth has been created, there are always someone who are wrongdoers. So the best solution that God is giving us is hold to forgiveness. It's better to forgive and command what is right. Try to teach who is not aware. Try to teach or try to reach out and turn away from the ignorant. Some people are not meant to be like taught. You cannot, or sometimes it is very difficult to change some people. In that case, what do? You just ignore that and avoid, or you take out yourself from that kind of violent environment. You don't just go and face. That is Al-Araf chapter 7. In another verse, the God commands, let them forgive and overlook. I'm not saying harm is not done. Of course it is done, but overlook. Just forgive and overlook. Do you not wish that Allah should forgive you? If you forgive, regardless of its magnitude, it can be big or small. If you forgive, then I'm here to forgive you. Because we are all at one point sinners, yes? We sin sometimes. So Surah An-Nur also dictates that. The other point I really appreciate in this case is that if a person forgives and makes a reconciliation, his reward is from Allah. It's not from the worldly reward. Maybe in the world or on earth, you can be rewarded by creating the peace that you wanted to live and to raise your children. But the reward from Allah is not something you take, it's not something small.
Yeah.
Like it might mean the biggest of all. The reward is from me. That is what he is promising. The other Al-Muntahina chapter, he says, but if you forgive and overlook and cover up their faults, you don't propagate it. You don't talk about it again and again and again, because by that you create hatred and the sense of revenge and vengeance, even among the children. When they grow up, because you are talking about it a lot of times, you instill the sense of revenging what has happened to their forefathers or to their fathers when they grow up. So just stop talking about it. Try to cover up their faults and pray for them to come to the right path. And verily, Allah is oft forgiving and most merciful. We have done a lot of wrong to disappoint God, to disappoint Allah, and He's oft forgiving and merciful. So who are we not to forgive?
Right.
That is the other lesson they are giving us. So the superior moral trait that I am taking from the Holy Quran is just forgiveness. This does not only this is not only for the situations that has really recently occurred in Gondar. No, for everything that's happening in our country also. That is really what I'm advising. Whatever happens in the past already happened. This is my personal opinion. So let's become bigger by thinking big, by thinking like to the human level, regardless of whatever diversifications we have. I am a female and you are a male. That's also the difference if you want to argue about it and fight over it. Okay?
Absolutely.
So religion or race or whatever difference you have is not really a reason to cause you harm one another. No. Who am I to come and tell you that, or to come and insult you or let alone kill you? Because I'm a Muslim and you are a Christian. Because we are created by one and only creator. Your creator and my creator is only one. You call it whatever you want, I call it whatever I want. But he is one. That's why whenever he sends down rain, the rain touches you and myself. Otherwise, the rain, you know what would have happened? The rain would have just come down to the heads of the Muslims, if we are only the righteous ones, and leave out the other.
It's for everybody. It's for everybody, right?
Yes, the blessings of God are for everybody, be it a land, be it whatever. Just let's use it together in commonality. Let's love each other. Only love helps us go through the worldly challenges.
Absolutely.
As it is, world is, I think, on the life on earth is full of challenges and full of calamities. So it's time to sit down and think back. Whatever we have been told before, erase that, start unlearning and learn the new things of loving human beings just because they are human beings.
What a message, Leyla. So forgiveness is the core value. Despite differences, despite hatred, whatever comes, you know, and forgiveness is not only for the Muslim community, it's for everybody. And it's also found in every other religion, right? It's
definitely.
Common. It's common for everyone.
Definitely,
Finally, if you have any message you want to convey to brothers, sisters, and Muslim communities or outside to Ethiopians, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Shafi. I think we have mentioned most of the things. So what I would love to say now is I would love to invite all the diasporas to come and celebrate the Eid to Eid program
Yes.
And it really helps a lot for the country and also for our solidarity that we are already talking about. To your surprise, to this effect, I and my friends, several of my friends wanted to contribute just a bit, a dot, and are about to hold an iftar event in the coming Shawwal.
Okay.
You see the Shawwal moon? The first 6 days of Shawwal, we are ordered to fast. It is advisable to fast so that you're fasting of the Ramadan month plus the 6 days of the first 6 days of Shawwal. If you do that, your fasting is considered to be like the whole month fasting. The reward is that much. So the 6 months fasting is most of the time the female are also keen to fast the Shawwal fasting due to different reasons. So only women fasting event we are preparing for the coming 27th of Miyazia. We are hoping to contribute for the Eid to Eid festival, and everybody has to come and join hands to realize the objectives of this Eid to Eid festival, because it has multiple folds, not only for the Muslim community as a nation. I believe it contributes for our image. It contributes for like our solidarity, and it sends a lot of message to the outside world also. So I'm hoping everyone comes in, joins, and helps this project succeed. So the other message I would like to transfer is Eid al-Fitr. About Eid al-Fitr. Happy holiday. I want to wish Eid Mubarak for all the Ethiopian citizens and for all the Muslims throughout the world. And Shafi, you and your colleagues, I really found you to be very humble and down to earth. I'm touched by your humbleness.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for ETV and for you for having me and giving me this opportunity to discuss all these important issues with you. Thank you very much, and have a blessed restful time for you and holiday for all the Muslims.
Leyla, thank you so much. And Eid Mubarak to you and also to the loved ones.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shafi.
Absolutely. Well, dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of today's special program on Eid. Thank you for watching us, and to those celebrating Eid, Eid Mubarak. Bye-bye.